The old man sat on the pavement, his back hunched against a closed shop. His clothes were dirty, his feet are bare. He reached into the plastic bag beside him and pulled out a small piece of bread, the last of what he had. As he chewed slowly, savoring the taste, he felt eyes on him. He looked up and saw a young man staring at him in shock. The man was well dressed, wearing a tailored suit and polished shoe. There was something familiar about his face. The young man took a step forward, his voice barely a whisper. "Baba." The old man's throat tightened. The bread slipped from his finger. It was his son, the same boy he had abandoned 30 years ago. There was a time when Chief Gbadamosi was a man who commanded respect. In the bustling city of Lagos, he was known as a wealthy businessman, a man who built an empire from nothing. His company handled real estate, imports, and high-profile contracts. People feared him, admired him, and envied him. But beneath the success, there was a man consumed by greed. His wife, Funke, once admired his ambition. When they were young, she believed in his dreams. But as the money grew, so did the distance between them. Funke was a simple woman. She believed in family, tradition, and humility. She came from a small village where people valued community over wealth. She tried to remind him of those values, but he always dismissed her. "Funke, we are no longer villagers," he would say. "We are city people now. Stop living in the past." Their son, Tayo, was just a child then, but he saw everything. He saw how his father was never home, how his mother cried at night, how the warmth in their house slowly faded. He saw how his father looked at him, not as a son, but as an expectation. Chief Gbadamosi would say, "You must be powerful. The world respects power, not weakness." Tayo wanted to make his father proud, but he also wanted something his father never gave, which was love. And love in that house was second to money. Chief Gbadamosi believed that wealth had no limits. He made powerful friends, men who controlled businesses, politicians who made laws, people who could make things disappear. But power is a dangerous thing when handled without wisdom. One day, he made a deal that promised to make him untouchable. He partnered with a foreign company to build luxury estates in Lagos. He invested everything, but in his greed, he ignored the warning signs. The company was corrupt. When the deal collapsed, so did everything he had built. The government froze his accounts. The banks demanded their money back. His business partners distanced themselves. The chief, who once controlled everything, suddenly had nothing. And in his fall, he turned to his family, only to realize they had already left him. Funke had watched her husband's rise and fall in silence. When the news broke that his empire had crumbled, she was not surprised. She had warned him, begged him to be careful, to think beyond money, but he never listened. Now, as debt collectors knocked on their door, as their home was taken from them, as his so-called friends disappeared, she made a decision. She packed her bag, took Tayo by the hand, and walked away. She didn't hate her husband, she pitied him. But she knew one thing for certain: she would not let their son be destroyed by his father's mistake. Tayo was only 7 when they left. He didn't understand much, but he knew one thing: his father had chosen power over family, and now he had lost both. Life after leaving Lagos was not easy. Funke took Tayo back to her village, where they lived with her relatives. They had no riches, no luxury, but they had something greater, which is community. Tayo went to school with the other village children. At home, cooked meals with his uncle and aunt, and listened to the wisdom of the elders. His mother always reminded him, "Never forget where you come from. A man without his roots is like a tree waiting to fall." As he grew older, he understood. Unlike his father, he did not chase riches blindly. He worked hard, built his own name, and earned his success with integrity. By the age of 35, he was an accomplished architect. He was married with 2 children. He had a home, not just a house. But there was one thing missing. He had never for once asked about his father. Maybe because he was afraid of the answer. Chief Gbadamosi refused to return to his village. He could not bear to face the people he once called backward. He could not stomach the shame. So he remained in the city, moving from one apartment to another, then from shelters to streets. The same streets where he had once driven his luxury cars. Now, he was just another forgotten man in a city that never looked back. He had nothing left but regrets. That night, when Tayo saw the old man on the street, his heart pounded. At first, he refused to believe it. This was not the man who had ruled over boardrooms, who had worn designer suits and spoken with authority. This was a broken man, a man who had lost everything, including himself. Tayo swallowed hard. He had imagined this moment many times. He had told himself that if he ever saw his father again, he would walk past him without a second thought. But as he stood there, staring into the old man's teared eyes, he saw something else, not just regrets, loneliness, shame, and pain. Slowly, Tayo removed his jacket and crouched beside his father and placed it over his frail shoulders. The old man shivered. His lips trembled. Tayo, no anger, no blame, just silence. For the first time in his life, Chief Gbadamosi understood. A man without his roots will always fall. And when he does, there is no one to catch him. But sometimes, if he is lucky, his root finds him, even after he has forgotten them. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you do, please like the video, comment, and please do not forget to subscribe for more interesting stories.